Good morning, friends. Tracy Brown here. I know it's been a while since I've done a live video, but I'm all finished up with my launch for non-diet counseling skills and decoding skills. And so we'll get back to some regular programming. If you've ever done one, it's a lot of work. It's super fun, but it's a lot of work. So we're back. I hope you enjoyed all the videos I did through February and March. I'm probably going to put all those up on my website so you can go back and watch those again wherever you need to get some counseling skills motivation. I know a lot of them talk about maybe the webinar or whatever's coming up. So you can always watch that webinar again whenever you want for free. No big deal. Just to kind of, again, reinforce what you're doing to pick up some new things or whatever. So anyway, thank you all so much for hanging in there with me through that period. So, all right. I wanted to share something really interesting. I know, Nina. Hi. Mwah, love you. I hope it's nice there where you are. So I wanted to share something really interesting that I had happen yesterday. I had a new client. Well, first she wasn't a client yet; she's a client now. But a kind of a discovery call thing yesterday, and had been through a lot of treatment. Had worked with a lot of therapists, a lot of dietitians, a lot of treatment styles, whatever. And something that she said was really powerful to me that I just want to share with you all to remind you now. I don't know everybody personally here in this group, but I know a lot of you I know of you, and I know you're all loving and compassionate, but I just want to share this so you know just how deeply appreciated that is. So this person, just to give a backstory, this little marketing backstory for you too, so you get 2 lessons in there for today. So backstory 1 is keep being consistent with your local, and if you're doing online work, online marketing, because I have people I work with that have followed me for years. Because, it can take 7 to 8 times of exposure minimally to, not always. I've worked with somebody the first time I met them, usually for business kind of stuff when I just had this knowing. But for the most part, when somebody first sees you and they're scrolling, or they see your website maybe in the town you live or in the area you live, they may not call you the first time they read your stuff. They might need to read it, come back to it. They think about it, come back to it. They're going through the debate process of if they really need this, if they can do it for themselves. I've already tried this before, but the reason I stress consistency and repetition is because they need to see you. And what I've discovered is this sounds kind of funny, and I'm actually giving you some marketing, strategy here and advice, is that oftentimes people see you, they see your videos, or they read your blog post. Maybe you have a pamphlet out at the local YMCA or sports club or something in your area, and they go look into you more. And not that they're looking for dirt, but they're going to see if you are what it seems like you are. And I think that's maybe how it is. And we've all done it too. You'll think, oh, who's this Tracy Brown person? Let's see what her education is, or how long she's been practicing, and watch some more videos or read some more stuff. And just to get the gist of something ever comes up fishy, totally get that. If you're going to give some of your time, your attention, or even your money, you want to make sure you can trust them and they're legit. So pretty smart human practice. So anyway, I'm sharing that with you because the person is a new client for me as of yesterday. She's been following me, I think, for 3 years online. And I've even been able to tell, actually, how well she's doing or not, depending on how much she comments on my stuff or, stuff like that. It's really, really interesting. Or likes things. Anyway, and I've had people follow me way longer than that, become clients. So just want to tell you that. And when I work in person in my community, I've worked in 3 different communities in the state I live in, and they're really far apart. So, and I found that's been the case in that circumstance too, is that they might get referred by a therapist, and the person doesn't work with me, but 2 years later they're ready. Or they see me for 1 or 2 sessions, and you never know, but you can kind of get the vibe for if they're not quite there yet, and they might leave. And I'm even not extra careful, but more cognizant to really give them the best experience possible. not really out of my benefit, but out of theirs, because maybe I'm just a seed planter for them or the first change agent they've met. And I want them to trust to want to work with people. Anyway, the reason I'm sharing all that is because the person I talked to yesterday, she's been in treatment off and on for 20 years. And she told me, like, you scare me and intrigue me at the same time. I'm like, well, tell me more about that. And I go, I actually have not heard that, and I appreciate you saying it. And gosh, she's like, yeah, I work with a lot of dietitians, and they're usually just not all that compassionate. And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, tell me. I genuinely wanted to learn more about that, not to dig and for her to tell me how great I was or why she thought differently of me, but just to understand, like, that's not good. We need to be educating each other and ourselves if that's the experiences and impressions that people are getting from people who work with eating disorders or those who are struggling with body image or weight worries or whatever. We need to get in there, and like, that's not good. So anyway, I said, well, tell me more, like, what was your experiences? And she's like, it really just comes down to, like, people really didn't ask me more deeply, like, what was difficult about eating or allow myself to gain weight or whatever. And just simply focused on, like, how much or little I was eating, my weight was going up or going down, and that was it. So I understand that she was actually talking about people who didn't have a lot of, honestly, training, both with eating disorders and weight issues. When I say issues, meaning like people who are struggling with feeling like they have to lose weight to be healthy, whatever. Eating disorders, weight issues, concerns, body image stuff, stigma. They don't have any training in that, and honestly, probably not much very basic motivational interviewing skills. So that's why I'm always this is why this group exists, is you all know how important it is. It's just now you guys keep, doing. This group, I feel like, is for people who understand it's important. They don't even know exactly what they need and how to do it, but they understand there's a different way to do things that would feel better not only to you personally, but to, of course, everybody you interact with in the messages. So anyway, we had a really great conversation, and, kind of a little mini history and all kinds of things that were going on, what worked, what hadn't worked, what she wanted. And then I could be really transparent with her. Like, I know, she told me how long she's been watching. Like, I know you've been watching me. And I see, you've named what you felt like was helpful about me, which was being compassionate, but also really transparent about, my own struggles, what I think is important, what I think works, what I think doesn't, and all the caveats to those things. There's always like a 95% of the time, and then there's this other thing. So whether it's 95% of the time people don't lose weight, there are a few circumstances where, let's say for weighing, she was hung up on the weighing. She's like, yeah, you talked about blind weights. I'm like, and did you watch the video really, really carefully? Because I talked about how there are circumstances where a person might make better progress if they know the number, and that motivates them. And she's like, yeah, okay. So that's why I'm so nuanced with my videos. And then if I miss something, I make a different video to cover it, because our clients are scared. Sometimes I'm scared, like when I go to think I think I need like an up-leveling somewhere that I don't know how to do myself. I've tried really hard, and it's like when I watch things or read things that people put out there, I'm looking for I can feel even my own yes buts coming up, and so then I'm go looking for in the materials where they cover that, or that's why I do the discovery calls with a lot of people to really work with can they understand where I'm coming from, what the concern is. It could be a mind block. It could be like a real, this is an actual thing that I think nobody's covering or talking about that I need help with. So our clients are going to do that with us. So let's not think that's a bad thing. Let's help them be heard about that. What else I can cover? I just want to make sure y'all know that because, we offer the people who are working with the food, potential clients are being really, really scared because they want to change it, but either they haven't had good experiences in changing it, somebody's pushed them too fast, too hard, and I think that's one of the things that happens so much in the recovery circles, that people get pushed too hard, too fast, and if you don't do it, that's kind of it, and you just keep hammering the same point over and over. We need to learn how to touch that, dip our toes in, come back out, go back around to something else, come back, and over and over and over again do that and titrate at the pace that they can go. And that's what I talk with this new client about as well, is that's how I do things, is that I'm not going to hammer them about how much they did or didn't get in their meal plan the whole session, every session, even if they're going to do a meal plan or not. We talked about like, well, we'll have to see in our work, like in the first session or two, how we're going to do this. I'm actually going to do a live about this topic on my regular page here in a little bit. So you can, if you want to listen to that, you can. So I think that's it. I just want to share with you all that a lot of people, so, I would say these days, I think if you are not the first dietitian or coach or person's ever worked with, there's a higher probability now that people are going to have some good experiences with people who do what we do. If you're in more local communities, that percentage is kind of lower, I think. So just be prepared to go at a slower pace to help people trust you, to feel heard, to really unpack things. What's the last thing I could mention about that? I think that's it. I just want to let you know that it's really encouraging what people that I know that watch this in this group are able to do to help people not only heal their relationship with food, but be able to trust people again. Be able to trust that people really do want to hear about their struggles. That even if they've had not a great experience with any kind of other healthcare provider, that you can be different, and you're different because you actually care about the person and their experience, and want them to become their own expert and not in this lowered position. And I think that's where it comes from, is people are already struggling with control, and you either get to represent the person that tries to rip that away from them, or you get to be the person that sits literally like invite them on the couch beside you, and let's work at whatever is fearful in there together. And the parts that like are holding back, we can't allow them to kill you. We can't allow them to you're there because you want freedom. We are going to obviously push and pull and work towards that freedom. But, we're not going to override parts of you that just okay, I'll do what you want to and I'll just shut down. Don't allow them to do that. That's what they're used to. And so, hey, I'm noticing that you're kind of agreeing to something, but I don't know. Is that what's going on for you? So that's really important. Last thing I'll mention, this was in my head to mention this video too. It's kind of like another video, but sorry, got the hiccups. I want to remind you all that I know we get really, really excited about teaching intuitive eating and health at every size, but I do want to caution you, again, to go at the pace that people can hear this information, because occasionally you're going to get a client who's gung-ho, who's learned all about it, is ready to go. There is no, they're on board. Honestly, most of the time though, those concepts scare the crap out of them, especially health at every size. If you're working with a person in a larger body, they've internalized so much shame and stigma and orthorexic tendencies that you're really going to have to some people, they need to hear it for sure, but I often don't try to expect them to even be on board the first time I introduce it. I'm just like, there's this paradigm out here, and this is kind of how it got developed, who made it. I don't always give a bunch of handouts because I don't want it to feel like here's something you got to know and learn and you got to agree with me. Sometimes if I have a visual learner who wants that stuff, I'll pull one out that I have, but for the most part I just introduce it. And I only do that because I sense that they need to have something to hold on to, but they're also really ambivalent. So anyway, just want to put that out there too, because I've made those mistakes of here's this great paradigm that if you just believe in, your health will be fine. And that's really, I've done it. So don't worry if you've done it too, or you do it, that can be repaired. But it's just, that it's going to be both possibly relieving and also terrifying at the same time. So you're going to have to work probably many weeks on that concept of what that's like and what would happen. And it's just going to be a slow evolution. So anyway, I just want to throw another fishing pole out there for you to think about. Not everything is received the first time. In fact, that might, if they're in a lot of fear mode, then it might be, another thing they feel like that they need to get right. So just kind of keep that in mind, even though it's important that they do know about it, and go at the pace for them too. I think that's it. I just happy to hop in. If anybody has any questions about this topic, please tag me and we'll chat about it today or the weekend, whatever. And if there's any topics that you would like to talk about, let me know. Lastly, I would love to hear y'all's opinions. I really would like to know. I've been thinking about doing a podcast for a while, on and off for a while, but more seriously in the last month or two, actually since the year. And I want to do it differently. I have some ideas. I'll just throw out my very beginning ideas. And I shared this with a person, I think that's in this group, because she said, by the way, you should do a podcast. I'm like, well, now that you mention it, here's some of my ideas. What do you think? Since she's hungry for that, then I know there's one person that's interested. But I'd love to hear more from you all if you would be interested in that. And what it's going to be, there's my preliminary ideas, is the first 30 minutes are going to be a free counseling skills talk. So I might talk about the dietitian's role with, nutrition, intuitive eating, non-diet counseling, and ACT or something. Or some other more psychodynamic thing, and how do we use these approaches in our work. Sometimes it's probably going to be, again, another review for some of you all, but intro into decoding and really truly feeling comfortable with if they're talking about food or weight or body movement, I'm going there. Not well, I wonder if the therapist is okay that I talk about body image. No more of that. Our clients need us to do that. So anyway, the first 30 minutes was going to be, thank you for watching live, Carrie. I'm going to hop off here in a second, so please go back and watch the whole thing. I talked about some really good information I got from a client yesterday that I thought you all would want to hear about. Second 30 minutes is going to be a really small investment, like $10 a month or something, for me actually doing either a 30-minute to an hour session just with myself, like me playing both roles, or I might have somebody role play with me, but how to use the things I talked about in the first half hour in the second half hour to an hour, depending on how long we need, but doing it that way. So it's you get to hear those concepts and skills be used organically. And that's what's really important to me, because this is my jam and my specialty, so I don't need to be in a lane that's not mine to do. And so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I would also have with the paid part some other goodies notes and all kinds of other stuff, handouts that are relevant that I make or I find, whatever. But anyway, if you're interested in that, I would love to, you have to give me, you don't have to let me know in the comments, one of the things where you can, if you don't want to do that, you can email me. That's fine too. But anyway, it's one of those things that wouldn't it have been nice, to hear. I mean, y'all know that's the way I learned, but it's role playing. But I did that for, we're talking 3 to 4 years, weekly. And I know not all of us are going to be able to do that with another person that much. So I thought this would be maybe an answer to that. So anyway, let me know if that would be something you're interested in. I haven't made any big final plans. It's just me the balls were slowly moving forward of what that might look like. Before it was just that's a good idea, but I don't know. There's lots of podcasts, but I hadn't gotten to the place. Well, how can we make it, where it was something very usable and all that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love that. I just want the hands-on stuff. That's for me. It's a lot of us who've been around a while, need to know how to do the in the trenches work, and that's what I'm about. I was thinking, thank you for sharing that, Nina. I appreciate it. I was, what was it? I saw another group. Somebody was asking about, I think I need a handout about XYZ thing, because when this person does XYZ, they restrict. I'm you don't need a handout for that. We need to dig in there. And it's almost like when we get uncomfortable, we want to hand somebody some information. That's not going to shift them. And I'm oh my gosh. And that kind of gave me, I saw this yesterday too. And I'm I need to ask my group what they think about it. Because you don't need a handout for that. We need to dig in there and unpack that for them. Help them see how come it is they're doing what they're doing with their XYZ kind of food, supplements, alcohol, whatever it is they're doing. We need to unpack that. And so, yeah, we don't need to be giving people a bunch of scientific handouts all the time. Sometimes that's a good, it's the right piece of paper at the right time and how it's going to land. But every single time we get nervous about something, giving people handouts not going to cut it. That's the old paradigm. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well, and I'd love to hear from y'all how you're doing, what you need, and let's just keep enjoying this ride here. So thanks so much and take care. Bye.